everyone, this is Courtney from Love Lives On, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own DIY funeral flower wreath using artificial flowers. Everything that we purchased for this craft, minus the foam base, was purchased at the dollar store. So this is a super affordable and easy craft to do, and the end result is stunning. One benefit about using artificial flowers is they're low maintenance and they last a lot longer than real flowers, which is a big benefit if you wish to lay this on your loved one's grave site. So we're going to get right into the craft, and afterwards you will have this beautiful homemade DIY funeral flower wreath.
Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is take your foam wreath base and start adding your larger flowers equal spacing apart. So you don't have to do this, but I like doing this as a starting point from which I then build the rest of my wreath off of. So I started by putting my 4 large hero flowers equal spacing apart, and now I'm just adding in smaller flowers building off of those larger ones. It's really helpful to use wire cutters to cut these flowers. I tried using scissors at first and it does not work very well. You're definitely going to want something stronger to get through those wires, and you can actually just poke those flowers right through your foam wreath base. Now I'm gluing some greenery on. The greenery that I had, these ferns, don't have a spiky wire end, so I'm just using a hot glue gun to glue them in around those hero flowers, just filling it in. And I've used in this wreath a variety of different kinds of greenery. You can see here another kind. This one pokes in well, and this just adds different dimension to your wreath, so you can use as many different flowers and varieties of greenery as you like. Obviously, if you're using smaller flowers and smaller pieces of greenery, it's going to take you longer to fill in your wreath base until there's no white visible. As I'm building off of my flowers, I want to keep in mind that I'm going to be leaving a gap where I will then be attaching my stacked bow. So I don't want it to be completely filled in where I'm going to be attaching the bow. So again, now I have some of these pretty little yellow berries, so I'm just cutting pieces of them and building off of those hero flowers. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason right way to do this or not. It's just kind of eyeballing what placement looks nice aesthetically, and especially the wire flowers that you're just poking in. You can just test it out and see if it looks good, and if it doesn't, take it out and put it somewhere else. If you're gluing stuff on, it's a little more permanent, but it's just kind of an experimentation until you find something that you really like. So now I'm just still gluing some greenery on. I'm poking some of the larger fern pieces that I cut into the foam base wreath. And you can see there's still a lot of white space where you can see the foam through, or the foam base through the flowers. So I'm just still keeping going with my greenery and flowers, just trying to fill in as much of the gaps as I can. You want to make sure that you pay attention to the top and the sides of your wreath, not just the very front of it, because once your wreath is hanging, you'll be able to see the sides as well as the top and bottom, so you want to make sure that you don't neglect those places as you're adding in your greenery. So you want to make sure that really the back of your wreath is the only spot where the white foam is visible. So this wreath really is a beautiful addition to lay on your loved one's grave. A huge benefit of artificial flowers is that they last a really long time. So doing this route as opposed to a real flower wreath, you're going to get much longer longevity with this kind of wreath, and you don't have to worry about the flowers dying and losing their beauty. We just got all of these flowers that we used in this craft from the dollar store. So it's a super affordable and beautiful way to create a wreath for your loved one. So I'm still just gluing little pieces of greenery here and there, just trying to fill in the gaps. I'm trying to get all those spaces on the inside of the wreath. Really see it starting to come together now. Not so much white space left. It's just kind of getting those little places that still have a bit of white showing through, or just don't look as full as some of the other places on the wreath. And you can see at the very top of the screen right now, now at the bottom, is the space that I've left for the stacked bow that I'll be adding. So the white that you can see there is intentional because I'm going to be adding the stacked bow there, and I don't want there to be a lot of greenery that kind of pushes up against the bow. This process took about 15 to 20 minutes of cutting and gluing and placing to completely fill the wreath. Like I said, if you use larger flowers, for example, you could use all peonies, all the white big flowers that I've used. If you do that, it takes a lot less time to fill out your wreath, but I really like using a variety of different sizes of flowers because it really just brings a beautiful dimension to the wreath. It's a really good idea to have some different sizes of your greenery and flowers cut. So you can see I had a larger fern that I then realized I need smaller pieces, and so I cut the larger piece into smaller pieces. So it's just good to have a variety of different ones cut so that you can have easy access to the sizes that you're looking for. It's really coming together now, and there you have it.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how you make your stacked bow for your funeral flower wreath. So the first thing you want to do is get your wired satin ribbon in whatever color you want to make your bow. So for this we're using a nice white. And then you're going to start by making some loops. So start about this. This will be the width of your bow. So I'm going to make it a little bigger here. So this is my first loop. And then I'm just gonna loop it back like this to the center. You can adjust it so that it's the width you want. So it looks like this. And then I'm gonna do the same thing one more time. So like this, and then back like this.
so that it looks like this. Now, I'm going to give myself some more slack here because this is going to be one end of the tail of your bow. I'll put that down like this, and I'm going to take some wire. And I'm going to grab my bow loops in the center like this. Put the wire around the center. Tie a knot tight. Double knot it. And leave your ends of your wire like this because you're going to be attaching another one of these to the top of this one. So I'm going to leave the excess wire, and I'm going to look at my ribbon here, and I want the train to be, or the tail to be about this long. So I'm going to cut it right here. And it's always better to go a bit longer, so then you can trim it once you attach it to your wreath to the length that you want. Okay, so you got one end that looks like this. So now you're going to take your ribbon again and do the exact same thing you did here, but make your loops just slightly smaller than you did on this one, because this is then going to be stacked on top. Hence the name stacked bow. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just put it up to my bow here so that I can make sure that this loop is slightly smaller than this one. So I'm happy with the size of this. So then I'm going to do that loop again, and one more time. So that again it looks like this. And now this excess ribbon here will be the other side of the tail of your bow. So now, before I do any trimming, I'm going to take my second loop and stack it on top of the one that I have here, like this. And then you take the wire that you left, I'm just going to tie your second set of loops on. If there's another person handy, it's easier to get them to hold the other loop in place. Tie it tight. And double knot it. Not to worry. You can also use a thin piece of ribbon of the same color. If you want to do like a 1/4 inch thick ribbon, that will also work to do this tying. And now I'm going to match up the sides so that my tail bow is equal length. Cut it. So then you have something that looks like this. Now this doesn't really look like a bow yet, so what you gotta do is pull your ends down straight like this And then you can trim the excess wire you have here. And then you're just gonna fluff up these little loops that you made. So just stick your fingers in between and kind of pull up. Like this. Do it for each of your layers. And once you've got them fluffed up, you can kind of just move them around a little bit so that you fill out your bow. Just takes some playing around to find. So we have something that looks like this. Then you just trim the excess wire that you have in here. And what I like to do with these ends to make sure that they don't fray is I just take a lighter and carefully just run it along the edge of the ribbon, and it'll just kind of seal it off here. So you do the same thing on the other side. And if you want, you can always, before you do that, fold this in and take a little cutout, so then it's a nice little cutout of your ribbon. And then that is how you make your stacked bow.
And now that your artificial flower wreath is all done and you've made your stacked bow, it's the last step. You just need to attach your stacked bow onto your wreath. And to do that, we're going to take some fishing wire. You can use florist wire or beading wire. You just want to get a nice long piece because you can always cut the excess off. And then I left a little space here when I was making the wreath for my bow. So now I'm going to put that right on there. Make sure it's how I like it. And then I'm just going to take the fishing wire and I'm going to wrap it around the base of the wreath. Just tie the knot tight, tight, tight. Double knotted. If you have someone nearby that can lend you their finger, that'll make it easier for you to get a really tight knot. And then I'm just going to wrap it around again and do the same thing to make sure that it really secures the bow. Whole bunch left over, so I'm just going to snip the ends. And then you can just fix the bow so that it's all pretty again. Smushed it. I like to crinkle the ends like this. You just pinch and pull, but you don't have to. It's totally personal preference. And there you have it, your artificial flower wreath.
Thank you so much for tuning in to watch our video tutorial on how to make your own DIY funeral flower wreath using artificial flowers. We really hope that you found this video helpful, and if you end up making your own wreath, please share a photo with us. We would love to see how it turned out. And if you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring ways that we can celebrate our loved ones' lives now and forever.